I'm going to start with introducing Philippe Johnston. So he'll be joining the panel as well. But he's going to start off with a couple of comments because in addition to being the CIO for Transport Canada, he is the National Vice President of the CIO Association of Canada. So the CIO Association, they're a great partner of ours with IDC. We work with them. We've been working with them a couple of years now, and we have a great partnership. So he's going to just talk a little bit about everybody here, about the CIO Association and what that means for us also. Please come on up, Philip. It's great.
Thanks, Lars. I want to thank IDC first and Lars and everybody here for giving the association a podium today. Really excited, especially because when I found out that we were coming here to Quebec City, this is my hometown. I grew up 5-7 kilometers away from here when the Nordiques used to be here and had a team. And there'll be a number of hockey references because it just came swelling up to me when I came home and there was still no team here in my beautiful city. I hope that while you're here, though, you do take the opportunity to go out and see the old city and take advantage of the great restaurants and the great cuisine and the great sights while you're here. It's really an old city, one of the first ones in all of North America, so lots of things to see. So before I get started, I'm going to just start with a question. Who here is really excited to either be a CIO or a senior IMIT business leader in their organization? Raise your hands. Who's really excited these days about that? Excellent. So Helen, I know you. Why are you excited?
It's at the forefront of everything. Isn't the new CEO going to have been a CIO?
That's probably going to happen. I hope it's probably happening everywhere around us. Who else has a good story? Why is everyone else? Is someone else excited? I'll go this side over here. Put you on the spot. You can just talk here, and we can get close.
Sorry, what's the question?
Why are you excited to be in IT these days?
I think for most organizations, the CIO's function is shaping the strategy as these companies evolve. So having a strong hand in that is very compelling.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and that's exactly what's happening with us at Transport Canada, and also what we're trying to do with the CIO Association of Canada. The future is now for us. I mean, we've got to carve out that space, take that leadership role, and really work in terms of figuring out how our role can make a difference, whether it's for profitability of our organizations or for government people or public sector people, creating better value, better service for Canadians more cost effectively. And there's an opportunity in that space for all of us over there. I can remember things have changed quite a bit, actually, since I started in IT. I remember being the cart guy with a computer, going to people's cubicles and dropping off computers or phones. I remember us talking about reliability of our internet connections or our email service going down or focusing on ERPs, back-end systems. We were on the defense as CIOs because nothing could really go right for us. We weren't really integrated in the business. All we would do is get crapped on for things not working like they should and being compared to other organizations where things could work. That's changed, and it's got to change with everybody here in the room as CIOs or senior IMIT leaders, and to take that opportunity today. So I just want to talk a little bit about us now not playing on defense, not playing in our own end, like the Ottawa Senators are doing every single night, and it's a struggle. That became my inherited team, and we had a lot of good years, but I think we're in for a lot of bad years right now. Anyhow, but right now what we need to do is get on the offense, and by getting on the offense is about being in the front office, being in the boardrooms, being there as an esteemed colleague with the senior VPs, the presidents, the senior vice presidents. And so it couldn't be a better time to think about how do we hire fast, how do we get agile, how do we innovate, and how do we become offensive-minded players and spend most of our time in the offensive zone instead of the defensive zone. These days, it couldn't be more exciting. All the top market cap companies of the world are all tech, and so we get to work with those. That's what I like in terms of my opportunity. You get to work with these people who are driving the change, driving the innovation. And I think some of these vendors are going to be here today that you get to talk to. And from my perspective, I see a lot of value in partnering with them to create better value for my organization. Even in government, it's a big, important piece of my daily life or my schedule. In terms of digital transformation, I'm going to probably say just two things about what I think is important to you as leaders moving forward and enabling your digital transformation. It has nothing to do with technology, but it has to do in terms of making sure that your advice, your recommendations, your executive presence, your delivery, and what you say at the table matters, and people care about what you have to say. And how do you integrate that with what the business objectives are, or the government objectives are if you're working in the government? And in that vein, you might hope to at least make a huge difference in your organization, and also potentially make or create a more prosperous Canada as well. So the two things I think I want to share with you, they're not about iterating quickly. They're not about going agile or having to do DevOps. All those terms. They're more about how you present yourself as a CIO and a senior business leader. To remove yourself from being a transactional CIO to a value-added CIO. So the first and foremost thing I think I will share with you that I think I've kind of thought about is not technical intelligence, but emotional intelligence. I do think technical intelligence is important because you got to know to ask the right questions, but we all have that. We all have that innately. We've been doing it for many years. How do we get to that other level? And that's through emotional intelligence. How do you make sure that you know people, you know their motives, you know what's going to drive the CEO in terms of their decision making? What do you do to create relationships across the organization? How do you make yourself a valued and esteemed partner? Figure out your strengths and your weaknesses, leverage them, and increase your emotional intelligence. So that's the first thing. I have another one that I think is really changing and that I've seen over the past few years from what I used to do 10 years ago in the IT world to today. Who here wants to be more like, it's Pierre, what was it, Mathieu? Monsieur Mathieu? Blaine Mathieu. Who wants to be more like a Blaine Mathieu? Blaine Mathieu is a chief marketing officer. Who here as a CIO or senior business IT leader wants to be more of a chief marketing officer? So I've seen that you need to be able to market yourself. You need to be able to market your organization. You need to be able to market your value, your people, and your contribution to the organization. So I say that out loud. What does it mean? Well, you just don't automatically become a chief marketing officer. It takes a lot of time, effort, but you got to purposefully and potentially take the risk to invest in resources, in time, in people, to set that up within your shop. So this could be people who can do really great marketing stuff for you in terms of the services and the delivery you want to do. It could be about investing in themes or ideas or thoughts that you need to market across the organization. It means taking the time out of your schedule to go visit the various people in your organization, your customers, your clients, so getting out of the shell of a CIO and a typical technology-driven CIO. And those are the types of things you got to do, and put the money towards it. Put some resources and some time and some effort, and that is how you might do a real digital transformation for your organization. If you don't invest in it that way, it's just going to be on the side of your desk, and it's going to happen beside you or by someone else. So those are the two things I would say that are changing right now as CIOs that I would recommend to people to think about in terms of what their next steps are in the next year or two, and it had nothing to do with technology. But they will enable a digital transformation for your organization if you do those things really, really well. So this will take you out of the defensive zone. You'll now be in the offensive zone, scoring a lot of goals. The pucks are going to go in the net, and maybe you'll be like the Leafs. So that's the other piece that could be happening for you. It's really, really exciting time. So if we could go to the next slide. The CIO Association of Canada is all about growing our leaders, growing our profession, creating a better voice for CIOs within Canada. It's the only national professional association that unifies all of us together. And we are in a growth mode and hope to move forward. We have, if the next slide, we have over 420 members, 6 chapters across Canada. I'm not too sure how many of you are from the Montreal area. Is there a show of hands? How many are you from the Montreal area? Okay, so a handful, not too many. We've got a chapter in Montreal, and we've got chapters in almost every other major city. We are there. If we could just go to the next slide. What do we do for you? What are some of the value-added things that we can do for our members? The next slide. There's no other slide? That was it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is what we're doing. These are the types of things that you get. A lot of our members have great connections. They can get new job opportunities. They get mentorship, growth. We're going to start to do blogs. We're going to have some thinking that's going to come out in terms of some of our events and be leaders in that area. And so that's just a high level. Last one, if I just the last one I'll just finish off with is we have our great event in April, Pure Form in beautiful Banff. So another great location just like this, where a lot of thought leadership is going to happen. You're going to network with your peers, learn what's happening with the rest of your peers in the CIO market. So thank you very much for that. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful speech, and I look forward to seeing you guys throughout the 2-day conference.